Hello everybody, your boy Hebro77 here. I am sitting down. I am having my coffee. As you can clearly see, I'm going to have my coffee. And then,
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Melanie Bridgewater saved.
Turn that on mute. Having my coffee. And today, hold on. Today, for breakfast, I'm going to make pork chops and eggs. You start off with one pork chop, or it could be two pork chops. If you got two pork chops, I only have one. I've got 4 eggs, so I'm going to cook that for breakfast. I, of course, got my coffee here. Here's the coffee. So, first thing you want to do is get in your kitchen. We take a little walk to my kitchen here. And the first thing you're going to want to do is unplug your coffee maker. I've done that. And now I'm going to put the coffee maker over here in the corner. And I'm going to get my burner. For those of you that have a regular stove, you don't have to do this. My regular stove doesn't work. It hasn't worked for the past 6 years. So I'm gonna plug this thing in, and I'm gonna plug it in. Trying to do all this thing one-handed here. Alright, get it plugged in, and you're going to want to let your burner, rather it be this thing here I got in front of me, or a regular stove, which I do have, which, by the way, again, it hasn't worked for the past 6 years. And you're going to turn that on about medium, which is about 3, and you're going to want to wait for that green light to come on, so that's nice and warm. Get a medium size skillet. Put your skillet on there. Okay, and let's see, I'll put this over here. And get my coffee stirring spoon out of there, and get over here to the refrigerator. Ooh. Get the eggs. As you can see, I've got exactly 4 eggs. I'm going to use that. I don't have potatoes, but this is very good with fried potatoes. And I've got I actually do have 2 pork chops here, so I'm going to make 2 pork chops. And what you want to do is you get your pork chops started first, because it takes the pork chops longer, and plus you don't want to cook raw pork with your eggs. So keep that in mind. Alright, let's get out some non-stick cooking spray. I prefer the vegetable oil kind. You can get all different kinds. As you can see here, I have a butter flavored spray. You can get olive oil flavored spray. Let's turn my spice rack around here. We've got some Italian seasoning. It'll be good. I think my garlic, by the way, this would be good to use lemon pepper seasoning as well, if you want to. And let's see, I've got pepper, salt, garlic salt, or you could use garlic powder as well, and just use regular salt. You just have to regulate the amount. Now we're going to spray our pan. Get it nice and evenly sprayed. You don't want any of this stuff sticking. And we'll wait for that to fire up. And then as your pan is sprayed, you're going to want to season your pan first. The most effective way to do this is take your salt, put it in your hand, and just kind of sprinkle it nicely and evenly around the pan. Your pan is seasoned. Once the chops hit that part of your pan, they too will be seasoned. Then you're gonna want to get this much pepper into your hand, just a pinch. Season your pan. Make sure it's evenly coated. There we go. Now we take a pork chop out of the bag. I think for breakfast. Oh, wait, let me get it. Very good pork chop here, and what you're going to want to do, you sit that in there. My hands are washed, and you rub it. You rub all that seasoning onto your chop, and yeah, so as you can see, it's already starting to sear into the pan. So you drop it sear side down, and of course you're going to want to wash that hand. While that pork chop is sizzling in the pan, you take your garlic salt and just add just a little bit. There you go. And since both sides have the vegetable oil on them, you're going to want to let this cook until it's about halfway done. I would say about 2/3 of the way done. Now remember, pork must be fully cooked all the way through. You can't mess around with pork. And then we'll get to the eggs segment of the show. And remember, when you're cracking an egg, crack it on a surface like a counter or the edge of a sink. That prevents the shells. You get minimum shellage into your pan. So we'll do that here in just a minute. Now that you've seared both sides of the pork chop, you want to take one egg at a time. You take your egg and you want to flip so that the heat is not reaching the surface here, and you crack your egg one egg at a time. Do it twice, and then how am I going to do this? Hold on. Okay, I cracked that one, and you want to make sure, if you want your eggs sunny side up, leave them sunny side up. You take your egg and 1 second here. I'm doing this one-handed. There we go. Very carefully remove your egg and surround the pork chop with all 4 eggs. This is the time to season your eggs, and make sure you don't want to break your yolk, so you season them with a handful of salt. Get that off of my hand. Sorry. It's like we did the pork chop. Season our eggs here. And you can even put a little bit of that pepper on the pork chop. Now, what you want to do while the eggs are in there is since this is a non-stick coated pan, you want to take your plastic spatula and you want to sort of just like move around the eggs. Now, unfortunately, I broke the yolk on that one. I don't usually do that, but I got my pan too hot. I'll move the pork chop over a little bit. And you got your eggs, and you want to separate that white from the yolk. And I got a perfectly a good yolked egg here. You don't want to break the yolk. This one's already broken, unfortunately. I've had better cooking experiences with my eggs. And separate that. Now we want to flip this pork chop, but first you're going to want to turn your pan so that it's sitting to the most heated position. And you could tell when these yolks are done, when they are sort of hard on the outside. It's sort of, it can get tricky. Now we want to flick our pork chop over, and we want to turn. You can see it's still very much pink on the outside, which would indicate that it's still pink on the inside as well. So you want to let that cook. And now at this point we will turn our stove up one more notch, and we just let it cook. Now the eggs are going to get done before the pork chop. So what you want to do is just keep a very close eye on them and constantly just kind of nudge them over. That one's not done. This one is almost done, I can tell. That one's not quite done yet. This one's overdone. And I broke the yolk on that one. So this one is done. Now my pan is uneven. I can tell that. But you're going to have delicious and beautiful eggs. And your pork chop, depending on the size, I should have left this down a lot longer before I started my eggs, but I'm the only one eating this, so it doesn't matter. But always remember, what you want to do is have this pork chop almost all the way done before you start your eggs, and I didn't do that. So I made I guess you'd call it an amateur mistake. And this egg here is overdone, so yeah, and I broke the yolk on that one. So let's go ahead and get this one out of the pan and into our bowl. Eggs can be very delicate, and it's a balance of getting them into the bowl. Sometimes what you want to do is either flip them directly out of the pan, but in this case I'm going to have to use two hands here, I think, because you can use your spatula and a fork to kind of guide it onto the spatula. Let me show you what I mean. We did that. What I'm going to do now is, this one's done. I can tell it's done. Try to get it out of there without breaking that yolk. I'm going to have to do the same thing again. I'm going to go ahead and get my fork over here. This is hard to do, sort of like one-handed, so I'm going to hold the camcorder with my teeth. 1 second. Yeah. Okay. There you go. There we go. And into the pan. Alright. There we go. Yes, I definitely recommend cooking your pork chop first before doing this. Right? So now I got all the eggs sort of surrounding here, and when this pork chop is done, and it almost is, as you can see, there's no blood coming out, and there's no pinkness on the outside, so that means that there's no pinkness on the inside, so the chop is almost done. And then I'm going to set it right here in the middle. Let's see, let's lift it. There's a little bit of pinkishness on there, so we'll let it do one more time. And I usually like to put either barbecue sauce or A1 steak sauce. Those eggs are unedible right there, so those will go to waste, unfortunately. You don't want any egg on your pork chop unless you're a pork chop egg man, and which sometimes I do like to dip my yolk onto my pork chop. But I'll use barbecue sauce, hot sauce, steak sauce, whatever you want. And that pretty much does it for this adventure. There you go. How beautiful is that? You got your pork chop right there in the middle. It is done, except I got this little bitty guy here that kind of came off of the pork chop. We'll get rid of him. And you can do different variations of this. Like I said, sometimes you can cook it with potatoes. And what you want to do when you cook your fried potatoes is just totally cover the pork chop in fried potatoes and onions and peppers. And then you have a pork chop that is smothered in potatoes, onions, and peppers with the eggs still surrounding the pork chop as such. Well, that's it for this video. I'm going to go ahead and eat my breakfast. If there's any more video suggestions that you have that I might do if I have the ingredients, I will do them. I think next time I might do a chili video. I did one before, but I did sort of like a quick chili video, and I think I'll show you the long-term chili video. But I'm going to eat my breakfast, and I will talk to all of you guys later. Remember, the truth is out there, and when you find it, hang on to it. Until next time, see ya.